So I'm walking towards the Westfield Mall, down market. People wearing suits and work attire are buzzing by me, trying to get to work or a meeting on time. I had my headphones on, minding my own business, wondering what movies would be playing. I was crossing Montgomery Street towards a Ghirlandaio's chocolate shop when I noticed a cyclist buzz by alongside me, and a car was turning onto Montgomery at the same time. Before I knew it, the cyclist was under the car. A woman screamed and people ran towards the cyclist to help or ran towards the sidewalk. Now, in psychology, this is called the fight or flight response, usually used in emergency situations, but there's also another response that's not commonly talked about, and that's freeze. So going back to the situation, watching people run towards the cyclist to help or run towards the sidewalk, I don't know what to do. I'm just there, stuck and frozen, wondering if I should stay and help or if I should go and get out of the way. But nothing happens. I have no answer, just stuck with this question if I should stay or go, repeating in my head over and over again like a broken record player. I feel like a weight is sinking me down to the road beneath me as this question becomes overwhelmingly loud and big, and this confusion turns into panic, and the crosswalk light has just turned to a solid red hand, and I know if I don't move, cars will most likely come and kill me, but I can't. I physically can't. I'm just stuck, watching the cyclist trying to get pulled out from underneath this Mini Cooper by the pedestrians who came to help, and the driver yelling at the woman who screamed earlier. And as all of these sounds are happening, and I'm tensed and shaking and wondering what should I do, if I should stay or go, I feel my headphones. My headphones get ripped out from my head by a large man in a yellow and orange uniform, saying, "Hey, you want to end up like that guy? Get out of the road." I immediately snapped out of my freeze state and I ran towards the sidewalk. I looked back to see the construction worker guiding traffic around the accident, waving in the cop cars and fire trucks to come rushing towards the scene. Freeze. It's a defense mechanism, just like fight and flight are. Some wild animals are in this freeze category, like possums and rabbits. Rabbits freeze so much that their foot gets stuck up in the air and their eyes become wide, wanting to run away, but every muscle in their body is tight and clenches. And then they start hyperventilating, breathing through their mouth instead of their nose. And this freeze state can last up to a few minutes to a few hours. And doesn't stop until exhaustion hits. So in a sense, I'm like a rabbit. I'm high-strung, darting from place to place. But sometimes I get stuck by my anxiety. It's like a shadow. It's always with me, and I can't get rid of it. It whispers, breathy and quiet at times. Sometimes it sounds like multiple voices screaming at me all at once. Others, it feels like a hand is gripping at my throat, and though I want to scream and let out this panic growing within my chest, when I open my mouth, silence is all that's there. It grabs at my clothes and my skin, picking apart my feelings of comfort and calm, and whispers the word, prepare for what? Prepare over and over again until it gets overwhelmingly big and loud and dark. And though I want to run away like the rabbit I am, I can't because I feel empty, numb, stuck. When I was younger, I honestly thought I was crazy because I was literally scared of everything. And anything that moved, I was scared of. My family thought it was an annoying trait that eventually I'd grow out of. ¿Por qué estás llorando ahora? Why are you crying now? There's nothing to be scared of. Go play. Ay, Nicky, ¿cómo me jodas? Chiona mi diosa Josefina Martinez, that should have been your name. Nicky, por favor, stop. If you don't stop crying now, I'll give you something to cry about. Stop. There's nothing to be scared of. Do you want me to call the doctors? Huh? Do you know what doctors do to, like, scaredy cats and crybabies like you? They'll call you crazy, put you in a room by yourself, away from us, and give you drugs. Is that what you want? I'll call them. I'll call them right now if you don't stop crying. Voy a llamar. Now go play. And that's why I became afraid of therapists. And that's also why when my now fiance, Elsie, suggested I go see someone to talk about my fears, like an automatic response, I said, I'm fine. But when I'm fine didn't work. My anxiety got louder and started telling me awful things. Like Elsie didn't love me the way I was. And that's why she wanted to lock me away in a padded room. But eventually I listened. But it wasn't until one day my laptop's battery needed to be replaced. So as a fun idea, we decided to make this errand a date. And as a side note, I never carry a purse. So I always have my phone and my wallet in my hands. And they were in my hands when I went to the Apple store to drop off my laptop. The guy said it would be ready in about an hour. So we went and played with some Apple gadgets. Went next door, went to a bookstore, judged a few titles of books, as you do on a cute date. And then my phone gave me a notification saying your laptop is ready. And so we go back to the Apple store, and when I look down at my hands, I notice I don't have my wallet. I only have my phone. Somebody took it, I dropped it, I had to cancel all of my credit cards, I had to go to the DMV and get a new ID, which takes fucking forever. My identity's gonna be stolen. I'm hyperventilating. I immediately dropped down to the ground, looking through my laptop bag, through my bra, trying to find it. I can't find this wallet anywhere. And as this is happening, Elsie comes over, frantically trying to grab at my hand, saying, Nicky, do you know the last place that you left it? It's gonna be okay, just breathe. I can't. If I can't find my wallet, I can't pay for my laptop. If I can't pay for my laptop, they're gonna take it to some weird back storage area where they take things that people couldn't pay for. And you know, she keeps cutting me off in my stream of panic, saying, Nicky, it's gonna be okay. We're in Burlingame. No one in this city wants your Joker wallet from Hot Topic. It looks like a teenager's wallet. Oh, come with me, we'll go ask somebody. But in my mind, I'm like, no. Everyone is greedy and untrustworthy, and that's why they want to take my money. But then she successfully grabs my hand. And for a second, I don't feel so stuck anymore. But she's grabbing my hand tightly to stop me from picking apart my body while I'm screaming at her, no, they won't have it! Do you promise to stay here while I go ask somebody? Good. Hi. Have you seen this small foldable wallet? It's white, ripped up, has a Heath Ledger Joker on it. Oh yeah, somebody turned it in. Is this what you're looking for? Thank God. And you know, as that thought enters my mind and my anxiety drops, tears just stream down my face because all the thoughts that ran through my head didn't come true. Yes, that is my wallet. Elsie turned to me. So, do you still think you don't need to see anyone? I think it'll be really helpful if you're able to talk to someone other than me. And, you know, get medicated. And you know, she's not talking out of her ass when she says this. She's had her own mental health issues, studies psychology. So she helped me talk to my general physician. And a few days later, I get a message. Your therapy appointment has been scheduled with therapist Dr. Erie. Therapist Dr. Erie. Now that's eerie. I don't know how fucked up that sounds to you, but to me, it sounded like a cruel joke made by the universe to get me to be afraid for the whole week leading up to the appointment. The week that I wished would go by so slowly actually went by lightning fast. And the night before the appointment, I couldn't sleep. Instead, I cleaned our home vigorously, thinking if I keep my things organized, I keep my thoughts organized. I didn't get tired until 2 in the morning. It was early in the morning. There was a thick layer of fog. Elsie and I entered the building and fluorescent lights flickered. The check-in nurse was pale with sunken eyes, and she seemed to be staring right through me. My name was called by a doctor who was standing by the doorway, but it was poorly lit so I couldn't see his face. He was tall and large and had a long white coat. Dr. Erie? He led me through a maze of hallways, and I heard screaming in the distance, and I wanted desperately to run back to the waiting room, but I couldn't because this therapist was blocking my way. So I continued straight forward as he led me into the room that was dark, and before I asked why, he pushed me into this dark abyss as I'm watching him go smaller and smaller as the dim light is just showing his shadow. I'm falling through this rabbit hole of fear, and suddenly I hit the ground, and my alarm wakes me up, screaming, for my actual appointment. The day was foggy, like in my dream, but it was nice and a comfortable temperature. The psychology department in Daly City is actually right next to a theater, so it's pretty lively in the morning. And this lively feeling continued up into the waiting room. Happy faces plastered all around. When I was called and led to Dr. Erie's office, it wasn't a dark abyss. There's cream-colored walls. The floor was nicely carpeted. There's a big couch with blue and yellow pillows. And a small man in a rolly chair, looking up at me with kind doe eyes smiling. He had a bright orange sweater with khaki pants. Hi, Nicky. It's Dr. Erie. It's nice to meet you. This is Dr. Erie? This bald, bearded, baby-looking man? Who's what, like 5'4"? Was haunting my nightmares? I was confused and very suspicious. He gestured towards the couch. Would you like some water? No, thank you. I declined the water, knowing full well it could have been drugged or poisoned. So I could pass out momentarily and then wake up in a straitjacket in a padded room by myself. I sat down nervously as he continued to talk about the type of psychology he uses on his patients, until he said, "Your shoulders are really tense." You want to let go of the tension in your hands? You know, I don't own that couch. So you might owe money to the psychology department. Look, I can tell you think I'm scary, but if you get to know me, I think you'll see that I'm a normal person. I have my talents and flaws like you. Now, I want to acknowledge how brave it is for you to come here and ask for help. Now, when I ask this question, I don't want you to assume I don't think you need it, but instead, listen to yourself answering. Why did you make the choice of coming to therapy? I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling afraid all the time. And I want to feel like I could have control, because right now I pick and scratch and cut at myself, but the only reason I do that is to distract myself from having my thoughts become too dark or too loud. And, if I scratch myself raw, I can put Neosporin and wrap it up and it'll be okay. But I can't do that with my fear. And it's getting really hard to ignore it. I'm so tired of not having the will or motivation to do anything. I'm tired of arguing with myself, debating whether it's going to be okay to die because it's better to have this relief of fear and tiredness, to then finally planning and attempting suicide, to back out last minute because of being too afraid of death itself. I'm done being stuck in this rabbit hole of not knowing. Dr. Erie faintly smiled, and I felt listened to. Like I didn't need to recite other people's words and perform on stage. He was interested in learning about me. And when that session was over, I was relieved. Not only that it was over, but he was actually here to help and not throw me into some psych ward. The next week, he introduced me to my psychiatrist, Dr. Roska, who's in charge of my medication, and together they came up with my diagnosis. Anxiety disorder, general depression, post-traumatic stress disorder with manic episodes, triggered by anxiety. In short, I call it manic anxiety. Not the correct term, but I don't like saying my whole diagnosis. And it was another relief. It wasn't like I was magically cured and I didn't feel fear anymore, no. But I had a name for what I was feeling, and there was medication to help control it. And I don't want to be like pro-drugs or anything, but Prozac is amazing. Okay? These overwhelming feelings or these manic episodes, I finally felt grounded and I could stand on my own 2 feet with medication. But, the shadow's still there. It whispers and tag teams with my depression to make me unmotivated to do anything. But I have help now. And there's something that I constantly have to remind myself that Dr. Erie told me. And that's healing is not linear. Though I wish it was, it's just not. But I have help controlling the light with my bald, bearded baby, the therapist. Prozac, friends, Peter, and of course Elsie. I'm not alone, and I'm surviving.